the first lesson for subquarter B is normal distribution, and this is the fourth lesson for this semester. So, fourth lesson is about normal distribution. When we say normal distribution, or in other books, it is referred to as Gaussian distribution. It is a continuous probability distribution that describes the data that clusters around the mean. Let me use a scenario we are all experiencing right now, which is COVID-19. Before, when the spread of this virus is at its peak, you will read or hear a phrase such as flatten the curve. And that phrase is related with normal distribution. I will use a graphical representation to explain this concept. So let's say we let x-axis be the time frame, and we time frame in terms of months or in years, and then in the y-axis, let's say this is the number of patients with coronavirus. We all know that it started at around December 2019. And within this month, the number of people with coronavirus is still low and it is not widely spread out. But, so let's say this is the starting point for December 2019. And then, as we move on the following year in months, we all know that the number of patients with this virus increases. So, graphically, let's say this is January 2020, and we will have an increasing pattern for this one. So, around February 2020, let's say, approximately we have this kind of increasing pattern. March, April, and then May, let's say, we'll have here as March, and then April here, and then May here. So, as you can see, we have this increasing pattern as we moved on to the next year and the next few months. And then, at around April or May, most of the headlines are about flattening the curve. And to do this, we must know how to control the spread of this virus. And that is by frequently washing our hands and taking a bath right away after going outside, and other stuffs to prevent the spread of this virus. So when we say flattening the curve, what we're trying to do is somehow lessen the cases, or the cases should decrease after quite some time. So to flatten this one, when we say to flatten this one, this graph should be like this. You will have a decreasing pattern as you go along with your time frame, or after quite some time. So we cannot say that we already flattened the curve if it does not decrease at all. So this graphical representation is an example of a normal distribution. So if the cases will not flatten, or the curve will not be flattened, meaning to say we are still on its peak, and it is not a representation of normal distribution yet. Next, we proceed with the properties of normal distribution. So, here are the few properties of normal distribution. First, the distribution or normal distribution is a bell shape. So, meaning to say, if you will draw a normal distribution, or the graphical representation of normal distribution should look like a bell shape. Now, we have an x-axis, tapos the graph above this one should be something like this. Ganyan po. You have the endings as asymptotic, or it will not intersect yung x-axis. Ibig sabihin ng intersect, hindi sila maglalapat, or hindi sila magko-cross ng ganyan. This is wrong. Basta dapat the line is still above the x-axis. Bell shape lang siya, as in may curve lang na ganon. And then next, the mean, the median, and the mode are equal and are located at the center of the distribution. So, if we will graph your mean, this will be our mean. Or, should I use the mu? So, this will be our mean. Or, that is the location of your mean. Next property is that normal distribution is symmetric about the mean. So, ibig sabihin ng symmetric, this area is the same with this one. Na if we will cut it into half and then we will fold it, you will have the same or you will form a same shape. So, ibig sabihin ng symmetric, they're equally distributed on both sides. And then, next property is, it is continuous, meaning to say, there will be no endings for this graphical representation. That's why I told you that you should not, the curve itself and the x-axis should not intersect. It should be above lang. Yung drawing nyo for the curve itself should be above the x-axis and will not cross the x-axis. And then another property na parang property that contributes kung bakit ganito yung itsura niya, it is because normal distribution is asymptotic. When we say na asymptotic, this graph will be closer to the x-axis but it will not intersect the x-axis. So, meaning to say, if we will still extend this one, it will just be closer or above the x-axis but it will never be it will never cross or it will never intersect the x-axis. It is also the same with the other side, that if we will extend this one, it will be closer to the x-axis but it will never intersect the x-axis. Or it will never be overlapping lines. Next, ano pa yung isang property? The total area under the normal distribution curve is 1 or 100%. So, if we will calculate this one numerically, ina-assume natin na this whole normal curve is equal to 1 or 100%. And then, obviously, if we will get half of this one, so meaning to say the area from the mean up to the end or right end of this normal curve is 50% or 0.5. Tapos, ito ding end na to is still 50% or 0.5. Kindly take note of these numerical values kasi we will use these numerical values in solving problems under normal distribution. So, again, numerically speaking, the whole normal distribution curve or the whole normal curve is equivalent to 1 or 100%, and then obviously half of it, may it be on the right side or on the left side, is equal to 50% or 0.5.